Welcome back to the studio. We're now joined by Wartburg Wrestling co-head coaches Eric Keller and Jim Miller. Earlier today at the press conference, Coach Keller was thanking Coach Miller for all that he's done.
Life lessons, obviously on the mat, but way beyond that, man, in every area of my life. It's a little emotional. I didn't realize it was going to hit me. But I want to say thank you. I truly believe there's no one out there that's better at mentoring young coaches and setting people up for success. That's what you do. And, for me to have an opportunity to basically learn this profession from you is a blessing, and I feel so extremely fortunate. So thank you for everything, man.
Okay, Coach Keller, we saw you get a little emotional there. Talk about those emotions.
Yeah, it's something that you can't really prepare for. I knew it was going to be emotional, but to actually let that overcome me, and it kind of caught me by surprise. But it was from the heart, and there is a lot of emotions behind everything that's transpired throughout the last 12 years for me, and I've never actually had that opportunity to really thank Millboy like that, and to relay all that stuff to him. So to try and put that into words, and especially with that moment, it was tough.
Now, Coach Miller, you said you made the decision in August, mm-hmm. and everyone who we've talked to said, we knew it would be coming, we just didn't know when. Mm-hmm. When did you start thinking about it?
I started thinking about it many years ago, really. My son TJ graduated in 2008, and that's really when I first, started seriously thinking about it. And I didn't want to get out just because of that. And, now it's 4 years later, and, at some point I just knew, like I said, it was the middle of August, but I just knew, without a lot of specific reasons, that it was the right time.
Okay. So. Now, Coach Miller, during the press conference, someone asked you, how do you want to be remembered? And mm-hmm. you had a long silence.
Yeah.
What was the reason for that?
Number one, something you don't think about too much, but obviously the answer, it's beyond wrestling. It's not just about wrestling. It's caring about kids on and off the mat is the most important thing, and what goes on with their life beyond their career. So, yeah, that was a tough question, but it was a good question, and something I believe that, hey, man, I guess I never hasn't been a real concern about how you'll be remembered, but that's some of the things that we stand for.
Coach Keller, Coach Miller is talking about how he's going to be remembered. How are you going to remember him?
In a lot of ways. I talked a little bit about it today, but just his leadership and the principles and things that he stands for, there's never a question about that. He is who he is, and it's the right things. And so all those things, all those lessons, all those hours and hours of talks and guidance and all that stuff. There's so many things that I'm going to cherish and remember.
Coach Keller, in the press conference, you mentioned how Coach Miller has never said, this is my program, this is our program. How important has that been?
It's huge. In the context that I used it was talking about, is as an assistant and being invested, and I think it is huge because, he wants it that way. He wants it that way for the assistant coaches. He wants it that way for the boosters and the rest of the family, the alumni. It is our program, and it's a great way to lead, and the way that he instilled that in all of us coaches as assistants, and continues to do that, it really helps young coaches take that ownership, take that responsibility, and grow. And because that's the same thing that he has done for so many guys that have came through his program wrestling-wise. He's done for so many coaches. There's been so many guys that have helped throughout the years in this program that he's had a huge impact on, whether they went on to coach or whether they went a different avenue at some point. Just to really understand and really see those lessons and really get all of that is such a huge thing. And And so, yeah, I mean, for him to have it everybody's program and not his it is huge. It's a great way to run things, and I'm a huge believer in it.
Coach Miller, what was it like telling the team yesterday?
It was good. I didn't know how it would be. I was nervous, and I thought telling some of my friends and boosters was tough. I thought telling the team was going to be tough because, you know, they you don't know how the college kid's going to react, you know. But I think because of everything they've stand for, because they've known me, known the staff that long, it became a lot easier, you know. And hey, I'm not leaving, you know. So that kind of brought up the whole scenario of, hey, I'm still on the bus, just a different seat, you know. So I think that made it easier, and I think they understood and made me feel better. They were really kind of making me feel better, so that was good.
Right. Coach Miller, what do you think Coach Keller brings to the team and will bring to the team?
Just brings energy, you know. He's just good at his job. He's just a good coach, you know. He's a guy that lives the job, you know. He's in for the kids on and off the mat 24/7. I mean, that is coaching, man. And not very many people are willing to do it to that level. And so when they know that you believe in them on and off the mat, when they, you know, whatever they need, you're there for, beyond wrestling, beyond the sport you're coaching, that becomes a big indicator of trust between each other, and that's why he's the right guy.
Coach Keller, you mentioned how excited you were to be taking over the program during the press conference. What was your feeling when Coach Miller told you that he was handing it over full-time to you?
Well, I mean, the whole thing kind of transpired over a course of, you know, the last 5 years when I came back from North Central. And obviously, you know, I was honored at that time. And, you know, when we actually sat down and discussed this day, what would be going on, you know, I mean, it's bittersweet, you know, and I talked a little bit about it at the press conference. You know, somebody asked me, what will you miss, or something to that effect. And I mean, I think about, you know, just the ins and outs of a season and going through that together with him. How much I've enjoyed that, how much I've not just learned, but just the enjoyment of it. You know, it's something I cherish, and so, you know, it is bittersweet because I've loved coaching with him, and it's been the best 12 years of my life. I've really can't say enough about that. So that's.
How is this year going to be different for you? Are you going to focus more on the recruits and not so much with Coach Miller focusing on the recruits, or how's that going to work?
I mean, from a recruiting standpoint, you know, I mean, I'm not the only coach that does recruiting. We have other guys on our staff that do help with recruiting. But I mean, now that the news is out, the news is public, obviously that'll be something that kids will, I'm assuming, probably want to discuss to a certain point, which is fine. But yeah, I mean, I'll be doing the visits with them when they come for their visits, and you know, we're going to be out front and open with them about all of it. There's no other way to do it. And but you know, I mean, beside the recruiting part of it, it's going to be business as usual. I mean, we're going to put the focus back on the kids where it should be, and helping them get what they need to get out of this upcoming season and reach their goals and dreams. So that's kind of where it'll go.
Okay, we're going to take a quick 1-minute break, but we will be right back with Coach Miller and Coach Keller to hear their final thoughts. Welcome back to Wartburg Television. You're watching a breaking news segment. Now, Coach Miller, one of our viewers tweeted at us and wanted to know what's next for you.
Guess we don't know right now for sure, but I'm going to be at Wartburg. I mean, that's what's next. But initially, what's next is attacking this year in wrestling, and so that'll won't be over until the middle of March. And so in the meantime, we're going to work with different places throughout the college and just see where I fit in the best and what the administration would like me to do. And in the meantime, we're just going to try to go after another championship.
Coach Miller, how much would it mean to you to go out with another national championship in your final?
You know, I think the biggest thing is if we wrestle to our potential, I'll be happy. You know, whatever that might be. You know, So that is the key. You know, can you compete to your ability or not? And that's easier said than done. And so we're going to have a lot of adversity this year. We have adversity every year, and how we handle that with this group and remains to be seen. But obviously, we have high goals, and we want to put ourselves in position to compete for the championship. So that's the plan.
Coach Keller, what are you going to try to learn from Coach Miller in this last season before it's up to you?
I'll just keep soaking it in. I mean, that's the thing. You know, there's always going to be different scenarios and incidents that come up that are always learnable, teachable moments. And you know, I just plan to continue to soak it in and enjoy every day. You know, I mean, I love what I do. I feel blessed to be able to do what I do, and I'm excited to be able to do it for another year with him.
Okay, Coach, when we talked to Cody, he said the fate of the team is in your hands. What kind of pressure does that put on you?
Well, that's Sylvester's words, but yeah, I mean, it's. I talked about it a little bit again in the press conference. You know, about what's first seen as pressure and what I see as expectation. And you know, I mean, I've always had the same expectations for this program, for the team, and for each individual guy, and that's not going to change.
Okay. Thank you for joining us. You've been watching a live breaking news coverage on Wartburg Television. Stay up to date with our Facebook pages and the Wartburg Circuit for more information.